On this day today, July the 19th, I'm celebrating Evelyn Glennie, a Scottish musician, a percussionist. I'm a percussionist too, so it's very close to my heart. Who was is very famous for having developed her skills despite her deafness. She plays barefoot and says that she can feel the tonal vibrations passing through her feet, through her nasal cavity, and through her body, generally speaking. That's how she has an awareness of whether something's in tune or not, and an awareness of the rhythm of the music. And she's a highly proficient musician. And some say that now she's profoundly deaf and yet still is an amazing musician, but not even just in a solo right, she collaborates with people frequently. Now, her story became quite important to me because of a time when I was working with a group called Red Zebra who did music workshops in the community. They were doing percussion workshops, and they made me aware of Evelyn Glennie, and it led to us seeing if we could do music workshops with deaf schools, which we did. And there was a period of time where we learnt sign language so that we could go and do that work. I ended up working in a school for the deaf. Unfortunately, my sign language today is very bad. It's got really rusty. So unfortunately, even just recently, I tried to have a conversation with some deaf families, and unfortunately their lip reading and their patience was what really enabled us to be able to communicate properly. But this was also part of a longer story for me, because when I was young, I was taught to play music. My first music teacher was completely blind and also had a hearing aid. He wasn't totally deaf, but he also felt the vibrations of things. He used to be able to tune a guitar in 2 seconds. He'd pop it onto a table and just be able to, he had perfect pitch and was able to, there you go, give somebody a guitar in 2 seconds, which just seemed astounding, especially considering he had, this hearing aid and clearly had problems with his hearing. And when I remember the first time I encountered him and went to have a music lesson with him, I mean, it just astounded me that this person could operate in his house, like lived completely independently, moving around his house, knowing exactly where he was going. It was difficult to believe he was blind, but he was blind since birth. His walls were covered with books. Music books, all in Braille, as well as novels and goodness knows what else. I was just a young boy at the time and didn't have the opportunity to go back and ask the questions that might have been with me now as an adult. His brother was also born blind, and they were both born to blind parents who had in turn been born to seeing parents. So it's really crazy, this kind of generational thing. It's not because you got blind parents that you're going to have blind children, but it might be, it's crazy. And his brother, who was also blind, was a chess master who could play 50 people simultaneously and win nearly all of the games. It's just incredible how the mind adapts to our differing abilities, our different skills and talents. And I suppose that's why today I really feel very passionately about celebrating Evelyn Glennie, because for me she's a musician, which is close to my heart, but she's also a symbol of what we can do in denial of the apparent handicaps that we're born with. The problems that we think we have are all to be overcome, all can be overcome by a change of perspective, a change of heart, with the right determination, by adapting to the limitations that we have. We can create immense beauty. And for that reason, I think Evelyn Glennie is really worth celebrating today, as well as her being a symbol of all people, of differing abilities and different physical qualities, and how they manage to integrate the challenges and the blessings that they have into a productive, creative, meaningful life. A thought to Evelyn Glennie today.